Hello friends, I am CA Rohit Gyanchandani and I welcome you all to our YouTube channel FinCademy. Friends, today we are going to begin with our series on basics of stock market in English. We have already uploaded the series in Hindi language. Those who are comfortable with Hindi can, I have given the link in the description so you can watch that in Hindi. Let's begin with the series in English. So before beginning with the explanation on the basics of stock market, I would like to address 4 major myths in the stock market, what people think are present in the stock market. So let's understand them. A lot of people have this misconception that stock market is gambling. So we will cover all these 4 in detail, but first these are the 4 misconceptions or myths that people have. Number 1, they believe it's gambling. Number 2, they think they need a degree in finance like MBA or a chartered accountant or any other degree in finance to understand the stock market. Number 3 is they believe that stock market is a place only for rich people. Normal middle class people like me cannot invest in the stock market, or we cannot enter in the stock market. And fourth is they believe that stock markets are very, very risky in nature, hence they shy away from stock market. Now, let us discuss all these 4 things in detail to understand how we can tackle this. Now let's understand about gambling. So in case of gambling, it's black and white. If you win, you get money. If you lose, you don't get money, you lose everything. So for example, if I'm betting on some game and I lose the game, I'll lose all the money. But that's not the case with stock market. In stock market, everybody wins. I'll tell you how. Suppose you buy a stock of Infosys and I also buy 1 share of Infosys, and the price of Infosys goes up. Now, when the price of Infosys goes up, both of us make money. So everybody who is holding the share of Infosys, all of us collectively make money. That's not the case with gambling. In case of gambling, either you lose or you win. You can't have it both ways, and it's completely dependent upon your luck. That's not the case with stock market. Now, another aspect of stock market is the share that you buy. It represents the ownership of a company. When you have a share, when you buy a share, you practically become the owner of company, and then you have all the rights with respect to company decision making. There are voting rights. Then whatever profits the company make, they'll share it with you in form of dividends and all those things. That is not the case with gambling. In gambling, there's no ownership. It's completely black or white. Either you lose or you win. That's not the case with stock market. So it represents the ownership. Third and most important thing that people believe it's not in their hands is, technically wrong. I'll give you an example. Suppose you buy a stock. Suppose you buy a share and the stock price is falling. Can you sell it and book loss? So for example, if you buy a stock worth of 100 rupees and it has fallen to 90 rupees, can you sell it and take away 90 rupees from the table? Answer is yes. So there will be a 10 rupee loss. But tell me, how exactly can you do this with gambling? Is it possible with gambling? If you are gambling on something, right, and you lose it, you practically lose 100% of the money. You will either make money or you will lose money, but that's not the case with stock market. You cannot control the market movements, but you can control the outcome. If you have a stop loss in place for the stock that you buy, then you will not lose your entire money. But in case of gambling, you will lose entire money. So the outcome is controllable to some extent. Now, a lot of people think that stock market is only for rich people. I am going to bust this myth by telling you that there are only 3 things that are required to invest in stock market. Now listen. First is Demat account. Nowadays, Demat accounts are free. A lot of companies are offering Demat accounts for free. There are no charges and all those things like that. All you need is a bank account. So savings account, almost everybody has the savings account, and you need money. So I'll tell you how much money you need. Suppose you want to buy a share which is worth 100 rupees on stock exchange. So how much money do you need to buy this? You have the answer, 100 rupees. So you will only need 100 rupees to invest. You can buy 1 share of a company and still be an investor. So this is a bigger myth where they say that only rich people invest. You need lakhs of rupees of capital. No. To start investing, you can start slow and you can invest by buying 1 share of a company. See here, I have written, you can start investing by buying a single share of company also. Is that clear? So that is the second myth. Third one is you need a degree in finance. Now I am a chartered accountant. I may be better placed to understand things than whoever is watching this video and does not has a degree, but that does not necessarily put you into disadvantage. I will tell you how. We are going to learn how to analyze the company in this entire series. So I request you to subscribe to this channel, and I will ensure that you learn even without having a finance degree, but you need 4 things. There are 4 things that you need. First is you need to know how to add things. 1 plus 1 is equal to 2, that's all. That's addition. Then you need to know how to subtract things. 2 minus 1 is equal to 1. You need to know how to multiply, and you need to know how to divide. If you know these things, if you know these 4 things, then you are all set to learn this. Then you are qualified enough to learn how to invest in stock market. Is that clear? So that is a biggest myth. That is the biggest myth, that you need a degree in finance, right? All you need is these 4 things and commitment to learn, and commitment, the hunger to learn and understand financial statements and analysis. Is that clear? The fourth and last important thing that people think is stock market risky. That's true, but how is it risky? Where does this risk come from? What are the sources of risk? So I have identified 3 basic sources. Understand, this is a basic course. I will take you through all the things that a beginner needs to understand to invest in stock market, right? So there are 3 things I have identified. One is incomplete knowledge. So you just watch TV channel and then you hear some anchor, he says buy this stock and all those things, and you buy it and you do not research on your own. So that's incomplete knowledge. Second is improper process. If you do not have a process in place to pick the company, to select what companies to invest in and what to ignore, then that's a risk. Third and most important thing is behavioral biases. And now this is important, nobody talks about it. So for example, if I am emotionally attached to a company, if I like name of some company, but that company is not doing great or it's not growing, and I still hold the stock, that is because of my emotions attached to it. That is behavior. That's my behavior, and I am behaviorally biased to that, towards that company. That's why I'm holding it. It's not good for my portfolio, but I'm still holding it because I'm emotional to it. I have some attachment to it. There are a lot of behavioral biases that we need to understand as an investor to avoid them, to ensure that we sail through the journey of our stock market learning and investing. Is that clear? Now, even lack of patience and temperament can lead to losses in good stock. I have, so in my earlier days, I bought a stock at 168 rupees and then it went on to 400 rupees. The company was really doing good. The profits were growing. Everything was just fine, right? But at 400 rupees, I thought, no, I have made a lot of profit now. That's it. The money got doubled. It got more than doubled, and I received dividend 2 times. So I was like, no, that's done. I have made a lot of money. I'll sell it. I sold it without researching it properly, whether the company still had room to grow. After 2 years now, that stock is trading at 2000 rupees. And I never got the entry back because I thought, no, it will correct, I'll buy, but I never got the chance. Is that clear? So even lack of patience and temperament is one reason why, where the risk comes from, where the source of risk. Not necessarily you will lose money in form of, losses, but even the opportunity cost, so whatever I sold at 400 is now worth 2000. So that 1600 also I lost indirectly. Is that clear? If I had held on to that company, I would have made money. Clear? So these are the 4 things. Now I'll give you one more example of risk. Now this is really important. This is real life example. So there's a company. The stock of that company fell for more than 6 times 50% on 6 occasions, right? So stock halved on 6 occasions of this company in its entire history. Twice out of those 6 times, it fell 91% and 85%. So can you imagine a stock worth 100 rupees falling 91 rupees to 9 rupee now? If you bought a stock at 100, now it's trading at 9, it's practically your entire capital is wiped out, right? At one point of time, it was down 85%. So 85% is like a 100 rupees stock going down to 15 rupees. Again, a huge capital wipeout. Clear? So is this a good stock or a bad stock? Now let's understand how risk comes. So the chart I showed you, right? It was an inverted chart. This is the actual chart that you might be interested in, or to understand it's easy. It's a chart of Kotak Mahindra Bank. Now, if you had proper analysis about this company, if you knew what this company does, if you knew everything about the management integrity and corporate governance of this bank, you would have held on to it. If you invested 1 lakh rupees in its IPO, today it would have been worth 1500 crore rupees. That's right, a 40% kagar on your investment. Look at this chart. Here there was a peak, then there was a fall. Here there are two small falls. Here there is a big fall. That's short term. Look at this long term chart right here. Look how immensely Kotak Mahindra Bank has created wealth for shareholders. So if you had proper analysis behind this bank or a proper process to select it, you would have easily, taken these hits and still made money. Is that clear? So you need to understand where this risk comes from, right? Now let's take a small example now. Okay, there is a company in India which generates 30,000 crore rupees worth of profit every year, right? Now my question to you is, would you like to be the owner of a company, of this company particularly? My answer is yes. So I believe your answer is yes too. Who wouldn't want to be the owner of this company, right? So do you think you can start such a company which generates such profits? Okay, answer could be yes or no. Maybe you are too optimistic that you will say, okay, I can do this, I can do this. That's also fine. Or maybe no, right? So maybe yes or maybe no, right? It's a confusing question. Now I'll tell you, if your answer is yes, how much time would it take for you to create such a company? The company which goes from 0 to 30,000 crores worth of profit every single year. How much time would it take? Do you have any answer? Whatever answer you have, you can share it in comments, right? Let's take this example further. So there's this company called Tata Consultancy Services. The company was formed on 19 January 1995, close to 25 years ago. Okay, the net profits of this company in year 2020 are 32,340 crores, way above 30,000 crores, right? So it took a company close to 25-26 years to make those profits. Now let's take it further. How can you own such company? Now I absolutely want to be the owner of this company. So how can you own it? By buying shares of the company. That's simple. Like I said, share is not a gamble, it's a part of ownership. So when you buy a share, you become owner of the company, right? Now you become the owner of company will give you dividends, whatever profits company makes. Now these 32,000 crores, they are not going to keep, they are going to distribute it to you in form of dividends. So that will be your profit. And when profit grows, the stock price also grows. So you make money in two ways. One is by rising stock price. Second is by receiving yearly dividends. Is that clear? Now, what is our goal from this series of videos, right? First, to provide you complete understanding of basic terms involved in stock market. This is for complete beginners. Is that clear? Second, to explain how market operates and things required to start investing. This is the second point. To guide you through all the process involved in investing, trading, all those things. What are the processes? What you need to learn? We will talk about everything. What are indices? What is short selling? All those things we will talk about. Then understand the basics of fundamental analysis, how to analyze a company, how to look at a company and see whether we can invest in that or not. And finally, 10 steps to become a better investor or a trader. So this is going to be our motto for this particular series. Now let's begin. So what is a share? I have already explained this. Share represents a unit of company's ownership, right? If you own a share, you are owner of the company. You are entitled to profits and losses made by company. If company makes profit, it will share with you. If it make losses, those losses are yours. You have to recover them. Now let's have a slice of cake. I am on a diet, so I can't have it, but I'll share this with you. So imagine a cake has 8 slices and it's worth 400 rupees, right? So you will have to pay 50 rupees for one slice, right? Once you buy it, once you pay that 50 rupees and you buy it, now you are owner of it. You can enjoy its taste, or if it does not taste good, then good, you have to take that loss. So either way, if it's good, you can enjoy it. That's a kind of profits. If it's bad, if it doesn't taste good, then it's a loss, right? No matter what you do, right? You are owner of that particular slice and you have every right to do whatever you want with that slice, right? Can you sell it to someone instead of eating it? Answer is yes. If somebody comes and then he says, oh, I am late, but I want to buy the slice, you can sell it to him, right? You can take money. That's what happens in stock market. If you have ownership of a company, you can easily sell it to someone, or you can buy the ownership by buying shares. Can you sell it at a higher price or a lower price? Answer is absolutely yes. How? If there is a demand and there is no supply, suppose there are only 8 slices and you own one and there are 10 people who want to eat the cake. So 2 people will left unfulfilled. Now if somebody wants to buy your slice, he can offer you more money. So you can take it, it's your decision. That's what happens in stock market. See, that's how you make profit or losses. Suppose it becomes bad and you want to sell it and somebody says, okay, I will buy it at 30 rupees only. Then you have to take that 20 rupees loss. Or if there is huge demand and somebody comes and says, hey, I want to buy it at 60 rupees, then that 10 rupees profit is also yours. Is that clear? That is how stock market or a share works. Now what is a stock market? It is a place, so basically it's like a vegetable market where you go and buy vegetables. So stock market is a place where you go and buy shares, right? But you can sell also. See, where you find buyers and sellers offering shares of various companies. Okay. If you are looking to buy shares of a company, you have to go to stock market and find sellers. Of course, it is very easy and can be done in few clicks. Now there are online portals. Everything is very, very easy. Just with few clicks, you can become investor of a company. Clear? Now, so then what is this company? Now I'll tell you, company is nothing but a commercial enterprise established to generate profits. The company is made to do business and to generate profits and give those profits back to shareholders. Where does this company gets money from? From shareholders like us. So when we give money to company to do business and that company generates profits, those profits are also to be given to us because we have invested in that company, and that's how it works. Now these profits generated by companies belong to shareholders. Clear? Now let's understand the structure of company. This is very important to understand. A lot of people don't understand how company works. See, at the top of the company are shareholders, people like us. Okay, we are the bosses. Below that is management who runs the company. Then there is company. Then there are products and services that company manufactures. And then there is customer. Now I'll take you through. Shareholders give money to company to run its business. Shareholder also gives management salary to run the company. Company manufactures products and services and sells them to customers. That's how money is made. Is that clear? So final bosses, the main heads, the owners of company are shareholders. Managements are just employees, salaried employees who are professional to run the company. Now take a look at this value chain. I have explained this in a much easier form. So here shareholder invests money in the company. Company manufactures goods and services, for customers. Then customers buy these goods and pay money to the company, and then that money with profits is returned to shareholders. Very simple. Who runs this show? Management. And what do they get? They get salary. They run the company on behalf of shareholders. Okay. So I will give you an example. Suppose I do not understand anything about information technology or IT or softwares or anything. Okay. If I want to still start a IT company, can I do it? Yes, by hiring professional management to run that company. That's the case with Infosys and TCS. I do not know how to make softwares and all those things and how to run a BPO service company. But Infosys knows that because there are management, there are teams, there are people who know everything about software. And I can buy the company's share and still be the owner without knowing what IT services are. Is that clear? Just because there is this management who runs the company and who are capable enough. Clear? So how do we make money in stock markets? It's very simple. Just buy a share. When the price goes up, just sell it. So for example, if you buy a share at 100 and price goes up to 120, sell it. You will make 20 rupees profit. It's very, very simple. Clear? If it goes down to 80, then you will make loss of 20 rupees. That's how things work in stock market. Is that clear? So profit is easy. Is that easy? Answer is no. There are a lot of things involved and there are a lot of analysis to be done before getting into all this. That's what this series is about. But take it, a basic point is you have to buy it at lower price and sell it at higher price. Is that clear? Now what are the things required to start investing? So there are only 3 things. One is bank account, so savings account, whatever you have, demat and trading account, and money. Okay, now let us understand all these things. So what is demat and trading account? I will emphasize on this point a little bit. It's actually easy, but I'll give you the difference. A lot of people use this thing interchangeably, but I'll give you the difference. So demat account is required to hold your securities, and trading account is required to do transactions. So demat account is something like a piggy bank where you keep your shares, and trading account is like where you trade, where you can transact in those shares. Demat account, captures portfolio at any given point of time. So today you want to know whatever is the date today, you want to know how many shares do I have. So you have to look at demat account. But if you want to understand what are the activities that I have done in the entire year, then you will have to look at trading account. Okay. Now tell me something, whether it is possible to have a demat account only or a trading account only, not both. See, a lot of people, when you open this account, you will have both. I'll tell you why you will have both, but just for the fun fact, is it possible just to have a demat account or a trading account? So I'll share this interesting thing with you. So demat is only required to store things. Okay. So if you apply for IPO, initial public offer, and you get those shares, so you can keep it in demat. Okay, how do you apply for IPO? Suppose you call your bank and say you want to apply for certain IPO. They will deduct money from your bank account and give those shares to you. So there is no buying and selling, those shares will be there. So if you only apply for IPO and you do not want to sell it, then only demat account is also fine. Okay. However, whenever you want to sell it, you will need a trading account. Is that clear? Now, what about trading account? Can you have only trading account? The answer is yes. You can have trading account where you can only trade in F&O segment, because all the shares, all the trades are settled in cash. Okay. You do not need a demat account, because demat account is required to store shares. So if you do not want to store anything, you just want to trade, and all these trades are going to be cash settled, then you can do it with trading account only. But in India, both of these accounts are given together so that investor can store also and can transact also, just for the purpose of simplicity. But I just wanted to emphasize on the point where we understand what are the differences between these two. So what is investing and trading? A lot of people say I am an investor, a lot of people say I am a trader. But how do you understand, how do you differentiate between an investor and a trader? So investing is all about studying the fundamental performance of company by buying shares for long term. Okay. The goal is to receive regular dividends and capital appreciation. We will understand what is dividend and capital appreciation. This involves understanding of business model and industry. You need to learn what company does, what are its customers, what are its suppliers, what are the dynamics of the business. You need to learn this, and this is called fundamental analysis. Now, what is the example of fundamental analysis? Mr. A, some person, Mr. A, buys shares of TCS to get dividend income and price appreciation by selling them after retirement. So Mr. A is planning for his retirement and he wants to buy shares of Infosys. He'll keep it till retirement, probably 20-25 years down the line, and every year he'll keep receiving dividend, and after his retirement maybe he'll sell it. So this is a long term horizon, right? So he's not a trader, he's an investor. Now what is a trader? Trading involves studying historical price movements and patterns to benefit by short term movements in stock price. So for example, if I see stock of Infosys, if I believe on charts, if I looking at the charts, I believe that the stock might go up by 10 rupees. I can simply buy it, and once it is up by 10 rupees, I will sell it. It could be in 1 minute, it could be in 1 day, it could be in 1 month. Whatever it is, I have no intention of holding that stock for long term. I just want to take the price movement differential as a profit, and I want to get out of the trade. See, goal is to generate profit by buying low and selling high in short duration of time. It could be 1 minute also, it could be 10 minutes or whatever reason. The goal is not to generate income in form of dividends or capital appreciation. This involves study of charts, technical parameters and volume analysis, etc. All these things, technical analysis is involved to do trading. What is involved to do the fundamental analysis? Understanding business model, financial statements and industry. There's a huge difference. Now I'll give you an example. Mr. B thinks shares of ONGC will rise by 3 rupees in next 2 days. Hence, he buys the shares to take advantage of this movement. So today he buys, he believes that it will increase by 3 rupees in 2 days. If it increases, he will sell it and book that 3 rupees as profit. That is called trading. Is that clear? So this is the difference. Now here's a fun fact for you. There are some interesting investment decisions in Indian stock markets that you need to know to be motivated to invest in India. So a person who bought 100 shares of Wipro in 1980 when Wipro came up with the IPO at 100 rupees per share, his total investment would have been 10,000 rupees, right? This investment, this particular 10,000 rupees is now worth 900 crores with total of 2 crore 56 lakh shares. Now, how do you convert 100 shares into 2 crore 56 lakh shares? Let's see. But my question here is there any investment that has grown with such pace? If you would have invested same amount in FD, would you have been able to convert 10,000 into 900 crores? Answer is no. So let us understand how this wealth creation happened. So see here, dividend, Wipro kept on giving dividend year on year. See, in 1992 on 100 shares they gave 80,000 rupees dividend, 93 80,000, 95 1,60,000. Like this, each year they kept on giving dividends. See, look at this. Look at this year on year dividend. Now what is dividend? I will explain it in further videos. But understand, dividend is something that company gives you. Whatever profits company makes, it gives you in form of cash in your bank account. They return it to you. The money comes into your bank account. So see, in 2020 they declared dividend of 2 crore 56 lakh rupees. So the total dividend declared and paid by the Wipro is rupees 71 crores 88 lakh 64,000 rupees. That is the entire dividend, that is the money that they have returned to shareholders in form of cash. Now when you add this to this number, 900 crores through share price plus 71 crores, this equals to 971 crores worth of wealth for an investment of rupees 10,000. There is no bank FD, there is no other investment avenue that could have generated such amount of wealth for shareholders. This could be only possible in equity markets. Is that clear? So that's it for part 1. In part 2, we will discuss about the exchanges in India and all the other things related to that. So stay tuned. Thanks a lot for watching this video, friends. Do not forget to like, share and subscribe to our channel. Also do share your feedback about this video in comment section. Friends, we run a WhatsApp broadcast list where we share interesting articles on finance and stock market on regular basis. To join our WhatsApp broadcast list, do send a hi on this number and we will add you to our WhatsApp broadcast list. You can also ask your queries related to any of our videos on our WhatsApp and we will get back to you as soon as possible. Until then, see you in next video.